Hi, this is Matt with State of Flux here with another Everyone's a Critic 52-week movie challenge. We are on Challenge 20, a film set during your favorite time period. The film I chose, Last Night in Soho. Year released 2021, aspect ratio 2:39:1. 1 hour 56 minutes for runtime. Genre is drama or supernatural thriller, maybe horror. Rated R. Starring Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, Michael Adjeo, and Diana Rigg. Directed by Edgar Wright, produced by Focus Features, written by Edgar Wright and Christy Wilson-Cairns. Music by Stephen Price. Awards received. It was nominated for 2 BAFTAs. It did not take home either of them. It was nominated for Outstanding British Film and Best Sound. Why did I choose this particular film? I have no favorite era. I tend to be a person that looks forward and not back. So I was tempted to be like really snotty and do like a Star Trek movie or something, and be like, looking to the future. But I decided not to do that. Instead, I decided to cheat in a different way. This is a film that is entirely about the concept of toxic nostalgia and how romanticizing a certain era inherently comes with overlooking the toxic nature that we like to forget. And this whole film is really, truly about that. So that's why I tackled Last Night in Soho. Have you seen this movie before? Yes, I have. In fact, I have a review on my channel from the day that I saw it. Would you recommend this film? Why or why not? Yes, it's a very good film. I would argue that this is Edgar Wright's worst feature film. But being that he hit doubles or grand slams every single time out of the gate, is like having one that is a good base hit doesn't mean that by any means it's a bad film. This is quite a good film, one that I recommend, especially to people that are so caught up in romanticizing certain time periods and stuff. This is a film about a girl set in the present day. Again, I like living in the now, who is very much like a 60s girl and whatnot. She wishes she could go back to that time, and she ends up going off to college for the first time, and that is where she gets haunted by a ghost from the past in the form of Anya Taylor-Joy. And she starts living out this woman's experience in the 60s, and at first she's in love with it. Everything about it is everything she ever wanted it to be, until it's very much not. And she's faced with the reality of the sexualization of a young woman in the 60s in Britain or in London, and how this woman is forced to move into drugs and sexing herself out. Truthfully, it becomes quite scary when you're faced and confronted with the truth of your romanticized utopian idea of what a time period is and was. It's a very good film, held together by 3 incredible performances from 3 incredible women. That of Thomasin McKenzie, one of our best up-and-coming young actresses, who was overlooked at the Oscars for not only this film, but certainly for Jojo Rabbit. And Anya Taylor-Joy, it's a shame she was not nominated for this film, because she gave a hell of a performance in this movie. And then Diana Rigg in her final performance, she really steals the show, especially in the climax. And there's another actress I wanted to highlight as well, Cino Carlson. She comes in to the film early on and helps lead the first act a little bit as Jocasta, Hurricane Jocasta, she calls herself. And she just, like, bristles every time she's on screen. She's just great. She's wonderful. She's a spark. And I imagine we're going to see that woman in many, many future films. Okay. Which character were you most able to identify with or connect with, and in what way? And I think that would be the two leads. It would be Thomasin McKenzie and Anya Taylor-Joy's characters, because you're thrust through the movie in both of their eyes, and the story's unraveling for both of them in real time to you, and they're the ones that you're going to relate to. And they're both great characters, and something happens with the Anya Taylor-Joy character, and everything that happens you're struggling with intellectually or emotionally, but you're understanding every single second of it. They justify every means of the actions that are taken in the film. Best line or most memorable quote, I don't really have any one that jumps to mind, but it's a great film. Edgar Wright always has lots of great lines of dialogue and little story beats, and he tends to sprinkle in lots of foreshadowing, and this one is no exception to that. Were you surprised by the ending, and what would you do differently? I was surprised by the ending. I did not see the ending coming. I thought there was a very specific direction that the film is going to take you on, being that it is a ghost story, and in true Edgar Wright fashion, it is a ghost story, but it's a ghost story with a twist, and the twist I did not see coming at all, and it was great. This film really benefits from its climax. Its final act is just spectacular. This film was co-written by, Christy Wilson-Cairns. She's an excellent writer in and of herself. She had written in 2019, 1917, which was one of my favorite movies that year that came out. Excellent writer. She pairs herself with strong filmmakers often, and together they are able to tether a great voice from her and whichever filmmaker she works with. Why is it your favorite time period? As I say, I like to live in the now. I don't see a lot of... I think it's a great idea to learn from the past, but not to live in the past. And so I think that this is my favorite time period because this is the period that I'm living in. It's important to live your life through your own means and not through anybody else's sunny ideal for what life should be. Now there are filmic time periods I guess I gravitate towards. I like westerns. However, I'm not interested in the Old West. So I just happen to like the function of a western. I like samurai swordplay films, but I'm not particularly interested in feudal Japan. So like this was a very challenging topic for me, so that's why I kind of cheated and gave you a film that is set in 60s London or whatever, which is certainly serviceable for the needs of my interests, but it's a film that's truthfully set in the here, in the now, and it dives into the dangers of romanticizing nostalgia and stuff. How well did the film capture the feel of the time period? I think it perfectly captures it, because when you first start walking around 60s London, it looks exactly like there's a poster for Thunderball, and it looks exactly like it was filmed that same year. And it was just jaw-dropping. The fact that this didn't get nominations for any kind of technical awards, certainly special effects, but cinematography, the production design, art direction, all that kind of stuff. This film is stunning, and it's a shame that that was overlooked. So it perfectly captures the feel. But then as the story plays out and you see what is happening to the Anya Taylor-Joy character, it does hit you continually with a truth and reality of what that time period really had. If I were to be honest with myself and pick a favorite time period that I enjoy watching movies from, I really like the time period of the mid-90s, and I almost picked the film mid-90s. I've never seen that film, but it had a paywall or whatever. I like that period because it was a time period where it's essentially everyday life here and now. It's not all that dissimilar from how we live today, but they were just on the cusp of technological revolution in the form of the internet and all that kind of stuff that really took off in a handheld, I can live my life on my phone kind of way. That interests me, but I didn't, like, I'm not particularly interested in the mid-90s. I just like that that was kind of the last generation, and I'm part of it, the last generation that grew up right before everything changed. So, getting back to this question, I think that this film also perfectly captures our real life today and now. You are following a girl for the most time, in the present day. And she is living a life where she is constantly looking back to a time, as a lot of people are. Nostalgia-driven films are what's fueling our entertainment. And it's not only films, it's in books, it's in every form of media that you can encompass. It's in our clothes and whatnot. And this is a person who's confronted with the reality of that romanticizing of the past. Anything else I would like to add? Not particularly. This is you can see my thoughts on the some other aspects of the film, but it's a very good movie. I recommend it. Let's move on to the next assignment. I'm curious. Challenge 21, a film that has won Best Cinematography. It should have been this one, but a film that has won Best Cinematography. I can't think of any right off the top of my head outside of like 1917, and it's been a few years since I've visited that. I only saw it once in the theater, and I quite loved it. Maybe I do 1917. I don't know. I'll try to come up with something good for that for next time. I'm going to try a movie I haven't seen before. Let's do that. It's more fun. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know if you do live your life backwards. What's your favorite time period? Drop that down in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Bye.